They said they haven't gotten back to us. They haven't gotten back to us. And that's when I went on saying, hey, listen, Darren, you want to do this in September? Let's do it. Because I couldn't wait anymore. I was like, listen, I want to know if I'm fighting. Because now I'm really dieting very hard and I'm training hard, which I always do. But I want to know, is this happening or not? And he said it was too short notice. And that was weird for me because I'm like, the short notice, I thought I was the short notice replacement. But he accepted the fight, and that's how this whole thing came about. And as soon as we signed the fight, so many people went, oh, he's going to pull out of the fight, which I understand. I mean, the track record doesn't look great, but I just had this feeling in me since day one, this fight will happen, and this will be the biggest name that I beat this far in my career.
I was going to ask you about that. So as you were preparing, did you ever have worries like, hey, we better be ready, to change or to pivot because we might end up with somebody else?
Not at all. I mean, obviously, as soon as the fight came about, that was something that was mentioned. I was like, well, guys, that's something out of my control. I can't be worrying about that. So many people on social media, fans, just everybody saying, oh, Darren Till's definitely going to pull out. Like, don't even worry about it. He's going to pull out. I'm like, what do you want me to do? You want me to not train? I'm like, okay, cool. I'll make sure I don't train just because if he pulls out, I don't waste my time. No, that's not the way it works. I'll find a replacement. If it needs to happen, it will happen. That never crossed my mind. That's outside forces I can't control. I was focused on what I have to do to be ready to fight on the 10th. Whether it was Darren Till or whether it was the champion that stepped in there with me, I was ready for whoever, whenever, on that date.
Last thing for me is you said a victory. What do you feel like you deserve? Because it feels like it has been a little bit of a slow play despite what you've been accomplishing. So do you feel like this is the moment people recognize you as a legitimate contender and they're talking about you in that way?
I think firstly, this will be the moment where people everybody gets my name right. But this is a big step up. I think this is where I wouldn't have gotten this opportunity if they didn't think I was ready. I know I'm ready, and this is, like you said, this is the one fight, like the previous one, that was a big step up for me. This is the next step. This is the next step towards becoming the champion and fighting the best of the division. Darren Till being one of the best, being absent for a while, not at his best of performance, but it's still Darren Till, and we've seen him show up and being one of the best fighters in the world and showing up and being one of the worst. I prepped for the best, prepped for a Darren Till that would beat the best Darren Till we've seen before. And this fight will prove that I'm not only ready, but I'm something to be worried about when it comes to the top dogs of the division.
Dricus in front, right here. How do people pronounce your name wrong? What are they saying?
Well, Dricus, the Plessis, Dricus, like people are butchering it, but I have to say, I'm sorry, American media butchers it. Like when I fought in Europe, there was no problem at all. But it's Dricus du Plessis. That's the name. But it's gotten a whole lot better. It's gotten a whole lot better since the first fight because that was crazy. But now people are getting it much better. But I believe after this, there will be no mistakes made no more.
In Darren's last fight against Derek Brunson, it came out that he had fought that fight with like a torn ACL or something like that. Is there any fear that he's pushing himself into this camp also with like a serious injury too like that? Because didn't pull out with that.
Well, that's his problem, to be honest. An injury or not, it's going to be the same thing. Like I always say, you can be an asshole, you can be the nicest guy in the world. I'm going to go out there, try to knock you out, try to rip your neck off, try to rip an arm off, try to beat you as hard as I possibly can. It's nothing personal, it's just business out there. So, if he's carrying some injury, I mean, I don't know. He's definitely going to be carrying one after the fight.
That's cool. And there's obviously, you have a new champion. Hamzat might even come up. He's talking about that. Alex Barrera said he'd fight Hamzat at 205 in Brazil. So what do you make of the new champion and all of this new addition at the top?
If Hamzat is such a badass, I'll fight anyone, any time, any weight. Why didn't he just fight the champ at 205? You know what I'm saying? So, that's a big relevance game that he's playing, even though he is a very relevant guy in the UFC at the moment. He's not going to get a title shot. Well, he shouldn't. Besides, it is what it is. That's not my concern. I said it. What happens at the top right now, at the titles, that's not my concern. I'll worry about that when I get there. Right now, what I'm concerned about is getting into that conversation. So whether they fight about who gets the bone, I come and I take it anyway, that's all I'm concerned about. So, big shake-up with the champion change. That was one of those fights where I always have a prediction on fights. It's tough, and there's tough fights to call, but with this fight, it was one of those fights where I had pros and cons for both guys, and it was so back and forth. Even me and my friends, me and the team spoke, and it was really one of those special MMA fights where you just had to wait and see what happens. Because it was like, is this going to be a classic striker versus striker that ends up in a grappling and wrestling match? And we almost saw that. But they did such a great job in that fight. I mean, Izzy was forced to fight a fight that he hasn't fought in a very, very long time. He was almost laying back just defending his belt for quite a while. And this fight almost had him step out of his comfort zone. He had to step out of his comfort zone because Alex wasn't afraid to go forward and wasn't afraid of his striking. And with Alex, he was forced to wrestle a guy that's not a wrestler or a grappler. And, both of them showed. I mean, Alex got that beautiful takedown on Izzy that Robert Whittaker couldn't get on Izzy. That, the top, Yoel Romero couldn't get on Izzy. That some of the best wrestlers we consider the best wrestlers in the division couldn't get it. So, great on him. So you can see how the sports develop. But, great. So we have a change of champions. I think there will be, honestly don't think Pereira will be as dominant as Izzy has been as a champion. I think for him, this was such an important fight for his legacy as a combat sports athlete. And this really has proven him to be really one of the best combat sports athletes to ever do combat sports. So good on him, great on him. But, like I said, to me, it's all about who has the title once I get into the conversation. That wouldn't be too far away, I hope. And after this fight, who I'll call out, I'm not sure. It seems like everybody's booked, right? But yeah, for me, like I said, the politics that's happening at the top right now doesn't concern me. What concerns me is what's happening in the top 10 up until I get to that top discussion. Then I'll start worrying about who's getting unfair advantages and all that kind of stuff.
And finally, I'm sure you saw Dana White's post-fight press conference after Israel's fight. He said that his priority next year is UFC Africa. That is at the top of his list. So what did you make of when you heard that?
So happy you asked that. He talked about Nigeria. He talked about, was it Uganda? I think Uganda. I have to be honest with you. That makes no. And he did say they haven't done the research enough. They haven't done enough research to say, okay, we're doing it in Nigeria. But even Nigeria, there was a Nigerian reporter that said, sorry, we do not have the infrastructure for this.
Even Israel said it probably wouldn't happen.
It can't happen. If they're going to do it in Africa, there's only one place, and that's South Africa. South Africa is going to be the host of the first UFC Africa event. Write that down, because I know it, I can feel it. And I'm telling you, I mean, we have Cape Town. We've hosted a Rugby World Cup. We've hosted a Soccer World Cup. We have exactly what it takes to host these events, and it's a beautiful country, and I would love for the UFC to come there and be one of the guys that maybe is one of the reasons they do decide to go to South Africa. And Saturday night, I'm obviously reconsider and make the decision much easier for them to take this to South Africa. And there's no other country in Africa better than South Africa to host this event. They have to, and make sure, like, we have the infrastructure, we have the stadiums, we have the arenas, we have everything we need to host this event.
Right here. You said earlier, Darren, just going back to Darren Till, you said that sometimes he looks like the best fighter on earth, sometimes he looks like the worst. From what you've watched of him, why is that? Is that something his opponents do, you feel like, that throws him off, or is it just something he comes into the cage with and he's either on or he's off?
Yeah, I think he's in his own head. I think Darren Till is, when he started out, he was extremely motivated. I think he was a force at 170. He was a big 170. He was imposing his style on people. Once you get to the big boys in middleweight, it's a complete different story. And obviously, speaking as somebody who fought 170 and then came to 185 myself, that was harder work than actually cutting the weight. because I had to take a very long time. I took almost a year of competing completely to become a 100% 185 fighter. I didn't want to be a welterweight fighting at middleweight. I had to become a middleweight. And that's where I think he messed up. I think he saw the move up to 185 as, oh, I can let it down. I don't have to eat as perfect. Those sessions where I really don't feel like I don't have to do the extra work because my weight's going to be fine. You know, when you're cutting that weight, you almost feel obligated because if you don't go do this session, you're not going to eat. I think he took the move up as almost an easier route. And that's not the case at all. We hit a little harder. Everybody's a little stronger at 185. And I believe that was where the big mistake came. And then, of course, Darren, until losing the big fight against Masvidal, getting back against Gastelum was not an amazing performance, but he got the W, and then getting those losses, definitely the mental aspect, that's where his biggest downfall came, and I don't think he recovered from that. I think that's where he's his own worst enemy.
Dricus over here. To go back to UFC Africa, is it a little frustrating that it has taken them a minute because as of right now, there's only one African champion. When the year started, there were 3. Is it a little frustrating that it's like, you know, hey, it might have been even bigger, you know, had they done it a little sooner?
No, next year we'll have an African champion residing in Africa, so that's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
Hey, Dricus. One of the young athletes to kind of make an impression this year in MMA is Cameron Simon. I was just wondering if you had any insights that you could share with us on him.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised at all. You know, he went out there and he did what he does. I mean, the kid's he's amazing. I trained with him. So how our relationship started, he was 13, turning 14. I was 20, turning 21. When we first met, he walked into the gym. We weren't really a commercial gym at all then, CIT. And he wanted to train, and I said, but there was some circumstance. He said, cool, he wants some private lessons, but he wants to train with me specifically. And I said, cool, I'll do an hour twice a week. And it was almost like, you know, after recovery, I didn't want to give the session. And after the first day, giving him some instructions, I could see this guy, like, he did what he had to. He went home and he worked on it second. And then we started prepping for, I started coaching him. After like 2 months, we started prepping for the national championship, K1 kickboxing national championships. Got second place the year after that. So now he's 15 years old. He got first place. And at 16, you're allowed to legally fight amateur MMA in South Africa. And we started prepping for his first fight. He went 6-0. Then he went over to seniors at 18, became a champ there, and then we moved him up to the pro team, where he trained. Now he's not only, I'm not coaching him, now we are training partners. And he's always been like, this was his dream. He was, you know, that's why I saw him. I saw a lot of myself in him, that nothing else in the world really mattered than becoming a champion in MMA. The same with me. That is my life goal. That is my life's purpose. And the same with him. And now we are friends and training partners. We still have a mentor and student relationship in a way, but not in MMA anymore, more in life because I'm a little bit older. But now we are more friends than anything else. But this guy is amazing. He's putting in the work. I mean, you saw for yourself, the boss man, Dana saw it. He's an amazing fighter, and I think we're in for a big treat for what his career holds, and I think he's going to do amazing things. I know he's going to do amazing things come Saturday night. I know it.
What do you think's been the biggest development in him since you first came across him at 13, 14 years old? Mentally, I think he was a happy kid, just, you know, the same as I was when I started this. Just a happy guy, just want to be there, and then all of a sudden taking this seriously. Realizing it's not only fun and games, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's a lot of sacrifice. And now that he's a little bit older, now he's turning 22 years old, he's even experienced some of these sacrifices, losing people close to you, losing friends, losing your comfort zone, because
you're missing stuff because you have to make the in the UFC. And he got his opportunity, and he made the sacrifices, and that will pay off. That's how it works. You get out what you put in, and he's putting everything in there.
Dana White called him the future. Do you kind of agree with that? Like, how high is his ceiling?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the guy's he's turning 22 in a couple of days. I mean, he looked incredible. The big lights didn't bother him. He fought like we know he can fight on his first appearance in front of boss man Dana White. For everybody, that's a pinnacle in your career, is getting the shot to fight in front of the biggest promotion, fighting for a contract. He thrived under pressure, and that's a big thing, is being able to have that BMT, that big match temperament, showing up when you have to, and he obviously has that. So, as far as his ceiling is, I mean, being a 2-division champion, maybe even 3, I don't know.
Thanks, Dricus.
That's it. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
What's happening?
Well, Paddy, it feels like any fight that you're in is a big fight with a lot of attention, right? But co-main event, Las Vegas, fight capital of the world. I mean, does this feel like a big moment in your career?
It's just another fight, lad. You know what I mean? This is just standard. Every fight's going to be the biggest fight of my career, every one I take. So I just take everything in my stride, lad. This is business as usual.
You've always had a lot of attention on you, even from the early days, but I mean, it just keeps getting bigger, and there's more cameras, and there's more people, and, you know, even in Las Vegas, people are mobbing you. Does it ever get to a point where it's like almost too much or more than you expected to have to deal with?
Nah, I always saw this in my future. I knew what was coming. I always said I'm going to be the biggest star in this sport, and none of it takes me by surprise. You know what I mean? I'll stop and give anyone me time, as long as they use the manners. You know what I mean? I don't like it when people are rude. That's it. As long as people say please and they don't just headlock me and try and take a selfie. You know what I mean? I'll take time out of my day to speak to anyone, because without them fans, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Talk about the build-up for this one, because Jared's been very respectful of you. You know, he says he's kind of a fan of you. He's like, he's not a hype train. You know, he's the real deal. What have you made of, you know, the way he's treating you ahead of time?
I really like Jared. You know what I mean? We've got a mutual respect for each other. I think he's an amazing human being. What he's come back throughout his life, he's turned his life around. He's such an inspirational and motivational person. Like, I have got the utmost respect for him. I really have. I think he's a very nice, genuine dude. I seen him yesterday and he come over and give me a hug, lad. Come over and give me a hug and shook my hand. And he put online, he's got very soft hands. And people were giving him shit over it, saying like, why didn't say that into his face. I didn't take it like that. I have got very soft hands. You know what I mean? And I don't use moisturiser. I have got soft hands. It's me knuckles what you've got to worry about.
What do you make of him as a fighter? I mean, does he present any unique challenges that maybe you haven't seen before?
No. I don't think he does. No disrespect to him, like, but I don't think he does. You know what I mean? I think Jordan Levitt's a better grappler. I think Luigi Vendramini's a better striker. And I'm bigger than him. I've got more reach. Like, one thing that did piss me off was he said, I'm a quitter. I've never quit. I've been choked unconscious and went 5 rounds twice against 2 steroid abusers when I went into both of them fights injured. You know what I mean? He's the quitter. He tapped to a choke recently, what wasn't even fully on. Like, that wasn't even a proper rear naked choke against an opponent who was absolutely dog shit. So, you know.
Last thing for me, Paddy, I mean, a win here, obviously, all eyes are on you, big spot. How fast do you want this thing to go to the top of the division? I mean, I think now people are taking you real, you know. Are you ready for contenders?
They're not, though. They're not. It's cheeky, lad. People still aren't taking me for real. You know what I mean? No one respects me. And it does piss me off. But, you know, I've just got to get on with that, lad. People don't respect the come-up. Simple as.
Paddy, do you think, you know, we sometimes talk about fighters having their breakout moment, right? Oh, that's...
This is going to be this fight. This fight's going to be my breakout performance. Because every one of my past opponents, people are like, oh, he's not good, he's not good. I personally think my best opponent was my debut, Luigi Vendramini. He gets a bad rap, lad. You know what I mean? The only fights he lost the majority decision to Ziam. He's also pony-like. He lost his debut at welterweight, and then I beat him. But that's me. You know what I mean? People say, oh, because he got cut. Yeah, Vargas wasn't the best. Like, he wasn't. Jordan Levitt, very good. No one had ever finished him. Everyone was talking about Claudio Puelles. Ooh, he's fucking shit as well. You know what I mean? And he couldn't finish him. But everyone was saying that he'd beat me. And I went and finished Levitt on one of my worst nights when I turned up with a lot of shit going on behind the scenes. And I still finished him in the second round, lad. And I'm disappointed in that performance. Just like I was the Vargas one. I don't think I've put a good performance in since my debut. And that wasn't even that good. But this is going to be my breakout performance. People are going to see the improvements I've made over the past 15 months since I signed with the UFC. Like, you're going to see.
In fighting, often we see these guys who are able to bring people with them, right? The travelling crowd. I know, like, December's not necessarily the best time. People are saving money for Christmas.
No, it's not.
Are you expecting some scouts?
Oh, of course, yeah. I've sold a good few tickets myself. Got tickets for me mates. Obviously, it goes without saying. But it's not even just that, lad. I'm fighting in America. It's going to get booed. And I'm going to... That's a fact. Like, it just is. It's going to be mad for him, lad, because I think he might get a good cheer and that. But when he's standing in that cage and everyone's singing, oh, Paddy the Baddie, his ass is going to fall out of him.
Paddy, just here to your right. News came out the other day that you launched your own foundation. Can you kind of talk about that? I know it's kind of targeted to your local area at the minute, but I'm sure it's something you want to like expand throughout England as well.
Yeah, it's not just targeting me local area, lad. It's just helping kids in general, like, get fed. The amount of kids what you hear nowadays, what are on the breadline and are struggling to get food. You know, I'm just trying to help any way I can, just like people like Marcus Rashford have done the same in the UK. And then, like I said that in March, and people are saying, oh, he's just saying that. Well, what now, lad? You know what I mean? My foundation's up and running. What have you got to say now? And then I still see people talking shit who haven't got a clue. You know what I mean? I'm going to have help men's mental health charities. You know what I mean? That's another big thing to me.
And talking about Jared there, he's got such a crazy life story, you know, pronounced legally dead for 2 minutes. It's something that I'm sure you must be thinking, God, this guy's got a crazy story. What's your thoughts on, you know, his background and the things that he's had to come through?
As I say, he's such an inspirational character because he's come through all sorts. You know what I mean? You couldn't even name all the things what he's come through, and now he's back. He's back and he's fighting in the UFC, and he's setting a good example for people in that walk of life. And I can't take my hat off to him enough, lad. I respect him so much as a human being.
I want to ask, when you went to Conor McGregor's pub, you had a massive food binge, and you had a FaceTime with him. I know he helped you out with the bill. How much did he spend all the money on the bill for you? Did he pay it all?
Yeah, he paid it all, lad.
Are we talking 100 quid, 200 quid?
We didn't even see it. We didn't see the bill. He just said, I'm taking care of it. But I was eating and Molly was drinking, lad, so you can imagine how much it was.
And finally from me, it's a touchy subject, but we spoke to Molly about it. She addressed this. I wanted to ask, You're a doctor. I'm not sure how much you've worked with him. Dr. Usman Jajad was in the UK news a lot before the Conor Benn fight. You were listed on his website and you took pictures with him. I just wanted to ask your relationship with him.
So, because I took a picture with someone?
Have you worked for him for this fight? Have you worked with him before?
I've never worked with him. He took me to get an MRI scan once. Is that all right? Or is that...
Just wanted to ask you.
Yeah, tip for asking that question, like.
Paddy, to your right. Over here. Just wanted to ask you, as you get higher in the UFC and you get more notoriety, you become kind of like the Super Bowl, the big fight for everybody. So that creates a little extra burden on you, right? You have to raise your game each time because you're going to get the best from other guys. Is that something that you're aware of that you've dealt with in the past in your career?
Yeah, people step up when they fight me, you know what I mean? They come in the best they've ever looked. It's just like when football teams play Liverpool, lad. They roll over for Man City and let them beat them. But when they play Liverpool, they turn up on the day and play the best they've ever played. That's what people do against me. I get the best version of everyone.
And so when you do get the best version of everyone, does that force you to never take a day off? Like sometimes, you don't feel like practicing, but because of that, because the guys you're going to fighting are going to be stepping up and giving you your best, does that require you to be on point all the time?
There's a lot of days I don't want to get out of bed, lad. A lot of days I want to just stay in the pit and not get out of bed. But it's something I've got to do. I work my arse off to be in this position that I'm in. Years ago, I used to just rely on my talent, and I never used to work hard. And it got me to a world title. It got me to a Cage Warriors world title. But when I started coming up against people that were working hard and did have a bit of talent, also they were pumping themselves full of steroids, but I started to lose, know what I mean? And then looking back now, I needed them life lessons. It wasn't just like lessons in the cage. What I needed as a life lesson to sort my life out, and I've done that, and now look at me.
Paddy in the front right here. Jared was back here, and he said that after this fight, he wanted to work with you to kind of raise awareness for mental health and everything. Is that something you'd be interested in after this fight? Yeah, 100%. As I say, I really respect Jared as a human being. He's a lovely man. And what he's doing for his community and for all the people by us is amazing. You know what I mean? He's helping people sort their lives out and turn their lives around. He's a proper genuine dude. As I say, there's no animosity at all in this fight. Like, I wanted to break Levitt's face because he was talking proper shit. But Jared's a nice dude. You know what I mean? I'm going to feel bad when I hurt him. And then in the Embedded series in episode 1, they showed that scene of that guy coming up to you and saying, like, your message saved my life. How often does that happen after that message you sent back in London? I have had that a few times now. Like I said on that, it means more than getting my hand raised ever will. I always say there's no feeling, like I've got goosebumps now thinking about it. I always say there's no feeling like getting your arms raised, but when someone comes over and says that they never took their own life because of something that I said, it's different. And you were in the news a lot for that doorbell video that came out. Were you surprised at how many news outlets picked that up? Lad, I have been asked about that more than me fight over the past week. I'm not messing. I've been asked more about that sloppy shit than I have about Jared Gordon. I'm not even taking the piss either. Like, before I've got home like 30 minutes after that happened, and I'd been sent it on WhatsApp 3 times before I got home. And then all night I was just getting sent it. Next morning I woke up and it was on Sports Centre. I was like, what the fuck's going on here?
Paddy, right here. You had Dana White on your podcast, and you guys were talking about UFC London, which is now official for March. Is it obviously your intention to turn around and fight on that card?
I don't know, to be honest. We'll see what happens after this, but I have a holiday booked in Thailand in January, and I'm going on this holiday, lad. I haven't had a holiday for a while, and the missus is adamant that we're going on a holiday, and we're not just going because when I go to San Diego, I still have to work, still do me vlogs, still do podcasts. The missus wants a proper holiday, lad, before we get married in May. So, I don't know. We'll see. You could see me on that if I come back and I feel like fighting on that date, then yeah. If not, you'll see me in the crowd and probably on a pay-per-view in April or something.
You surprised that they didn't do the stadium show?
No. I knew they wouldn't do the stadium show.
Why?
Because I'm not stupid.
Well, why would they be stupid to do that?
Because I just knew they wouldn't. I knew for the fact it wasn't happening. I just know. If you're going to do a stadium show, it's me headlining at Anfield. End of.
And when there's a lot made about your weight fluctuation and stuff, and when Dana was talking about it earlier this year, he said that's not something that's sustainable and it can be bad and stuff. Did you guys have any conversations about that? And
No.
is anything being said to you behind the scenes?
No. Why would it? It's none of anyone else's business. If I want to get chubby in the off season, I'll get chubby. End of. You know what I mean? Started this camp at 193. A lot of people start camps heavier than that. I'm waking up 168. Do you think that's a big cut? Because I certainly know it isn't.
No. How's the food in Thailand?
Very good. Pad thais are heavy. Curries are heavy.
Thanks, Paddy.
Hey, Paddy, over here. I'm curious, finally, both yourself and Darren Till on the same card. Just how big is that impact in Liverpool, specifically with MMA?
Well, yeah, I've been getting sent up billboards from Liverpool at the minute where just me and Darren Till on billboards everywhere saying Scouts take over, and it is, you know what I mean? We're both hopefully I know I'm gonna get my win. Hopefully Darren gets his win, and it is a Scouts takeover.
Who throws the bigger party, Darren and Hamzat or you and Molly?
Come on, lad, that's a terrible question. Obviously, me and Molly. Crash Matt doesn't even drink, does he? It's obviously me and Molly.
Good luck.
Paddy, you've fought in London twice. You're going to fight in Vegas. When's the next? When are we going to see you headline a fight night or a main event?
Well, Dana said on the podcast after I win this one that I probably will headline a fight night. So, I don't know. We'll see, lad. We'll see. But you know I could headline anyway. I'm the people's main event on Saturday night.
Fans were very surprised that how much you love movies and how smart you are. Where did that come from?
My dad loves films, lad. My dad loves movies, and he's bred it into me. You know what I mean? So I like me films. It's a Pimblett thing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, just wanted to get your thoughts on Volkanovski and Islam, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's going to be a scrap, you know what I mean? I got so much stick for picking Charles against Islam, which was crazy, because a lot of people picked Charles, but still on social media posts and stuff, you picked against Islam. Yeah, because Charles have fought the better people, and I thought Charles was going to win. Can't I have a prediction anymore? People saying you haven't give props to Islam. I have. He looked unbelievable that night. He absolutely dominated Charles. I would have put up a better fight than Charles did that night, to be honest. But him versus Volk's going to be a scrap. But Volk, especially if Volk's power transfers up to 155, because he's probably going to have a speed advantage, and his cardio is going to hold up even more because he's moving up a weight. So it's a very interesting fight. I'm looking forward to watching it, to be honest.
Paddy, right over here. You had that call out of Mark Zuckerberg that time to try to get your accounts unlocked. Now that Elon Musk has taken over Twitter, is there any chance we get a call out on him, try to get your account back?
I don't want Twitter back, lad. Twitter's a cesspit. Twitter gets me in trouble. People interpret things that I say and twist it and make it sound like I've said something I haven't and make me look bad when I've never said any of those things. People just misinterpret what I say on purpose to make me look bad. You know what I mean? Digging tweets up from like 2018, 19 to try and make me look bad. And I'd rather not have Twitter back, lad. Gets me in too much trouble.
Thanks.
Peace out, bitches.
I take my chance. Everybody will use it, this situation. I didn't expect that. I was last who know what's happened because, I was in the plane when everything's happened. So when I landed, I checked my phone. My phone was crazy, a lot of messages. And I find this message from my manager, you've got title shot. So I was, I cannot believe first time. So I read it 4 times. I showed to my coach. He said, yeah, we've got title shot. So he just was, excited, I think that I deserve for this fight after Rakic, but here he wants to take rematch with Glover, so okay, so I have to wait a little bit longer, do one more fight. But the universe worked with me very well. I wish Iri the best recovery, but I will take my chance and be the champion again.
Yeah, obviously, it was a big fight regardless, even before it was a title fight. But did it change anything in terms of, your feeling, your approach, the strategy you implement? Did anything change?
Only one change is we've got the belt, so a little bit more pressure, but I don't think it. I don't let it, pressure to my head too much. And we've got 5 rounds. But for me, it's better. I prefer 5 rounds, not 3. For me, it was weird when I start prepare for 3 rounds, because I don't remember when last time I fight 3 rounds, so that was weird for me. So we're back to normal 5 rounds, more fun inside octagon for me. So I'm happy.
You fought all the best in the division. Magomed, do you believe he is one of the best in the division? Is he on par with those other athletes that you've competed against?
Of course he is. Look to his record, 17-1, 9 win streak. So it's time to stop it and make his, record 17-2. But for sure he's one of the best. I've got a lot of respect to his skills. That's gonna be tough fight. I expect tough fight, and I'm ready for this tough fight,
Last thing for me, do you have any concerns at all that, you win on Saturday night, that people won't say that you're the legitimate champion? They'll say, you got to beat Yuri before you can consider yourself champion, or do you feel like, no, I am the champion?
First of all, I focus only about Saturday, but after Saturday, I won't fight against Iri. He don't want to fight against me, He choose different fight, not me. So I'm ready for him when he gonna be, healthy.
Jan, right here. Before Anthony Smith fought Magomed, he said that his quote was, he's very, very basic. His approach is very simple, but he doesn't make any mistakes. I don't think he was overly impressed, but he said that he does everything correctly. So I'm curious if you agree with that assessment about Magomed.
The most important thing that his style is working very well. It doesn't matter that he is, simple or not. He's, the most important thing that he won almost every fight. By KO or decision, but he won. So it have to be good. So I have to be ready for this. And I think my style is also not so, very fancy and stuff like this. I do simple things, but most of these things work. So we are a little bit similar.
And I know you said you're focused on Saturday and you don't think Yuri would want to fight you, but Dana White did a podcast earlier today, and he said the winner of Saturday will probably fight Glover because Yuri's going to be out for a long time. So what do you make of, whoever wins this, Glover's next in line?
Yeah, it's like natural way. So I believe I'm going to be next for, who going to win the fight, and Glover will be the best matchup for me for the title defense again. And this time I will prove myself that I can beat him.
Hey, Jan, over here. I was wondering, having been on both sides, been the contender, been the champion, and now working back, how would you say the attention in life is different when you are the champion as opposed to when you're just one of the contenders?
I try to explain to you in simple way. When you drive a poor car, and then you switch the poor car for, Porsche or Mercedes, yes? And again, you lose this cool car and you come back to poor car, you won't coming back to this beautiful car, yeah? So this is how I feel right now, I was a champion, I lose the belt, but I know how it feels, how it's good feeling to be the best in the world. So now I just want to twice more, even the first time. So I was in the place where Magomedov is right now, and I am in completely new place, and I've got this motivation double it. So I cannot wait to start fighting for this title, again.
I know Poland had a rough loss in the World Cup. Do you feel like having another Polish champion back in the UFC will do a lot to bring everyone's, enthusiasm
Yeah, I
back?
believe that, after what's happened in the soccer champions, Poland will celebrate again with me in, a couple days. So, yeah, I hope so that I'm going to be the champion and we're going to celebrate together like last time.
Thank you.
Jan right here. If you win this fight, you'll be the first fighter in UFC history to win a title that's vacant 2 times. Is there anything disappointing about that like you don't go in there and beat like an established champion?
You know, it's not my fault. I won't fight against John Jones, but he don't want to fight against me. Nobody knows what he's doing right now. And also, I won't fight against Iri, but he chose the rematch. The rematch. Yeah? Now it's injury, so it's not my fault. You know, this is not what I choose. It is what it is. But it's the championship. You know, it's a belt. This is the more important thing for me.
Sure. Thank you.
You've been the main event before. You've been champion before. How do you see these as the advantages going into the fight? Does it help you rest easy, or does it just make you sharper?
I think so. Yes, because I have got a lot of 5 minutes rounds like a main event. So this experience for sure gonna work for me because Magomed have only one, I think so. So the experience, of course, I believe that's gonna be on my side in this fight.
I'm sure you'd perform at your best regardless of where we're at, but do you get that extra energy being at the T-Mobile Arena, the big event to close the year out and headline?
Yeah, I'm happy that it's gonna be in big arena. With I hope so the arena will be full. The crowd will be crazy because they give me energy. It's better when you fight with the fans and celebrate with them everything what's happened.
Excellent. Thank you, sir, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you. That's all. Yep. Dziękuję. Thank you.
over here.
Well, obviously, the UFC debut, man, a lot of attention, a lot of building up to this. I mean, just talk about the emotion right now that you're feeling just a few days out.
I'm just feeling excited, no pressure, just, excited for this moment. Excited to go out there on Saturday night, get the finish, and put on a hell of a performance. For all the people that go out there and, come from like different countries to support, from T-Mobile, from different states that come out here. I'm just going to go out there and put on a show for everybody at T-Mobile and everybody watching around the world.
Obviously, it's going to be a packed arena. I mean, it's going to be a big deal. Do you expect to feel any different as you're walking to the cage, or do you think it'll be just another day for you?
It's just another day because it's a different cage, different arena, but still one guy. Like, I'm fighting just one guy, same opponent, like same as others. Like, it's a different name, but he's the same from everybody, so there's nothing different from that.
All the attention that you're getting, man, it's been crazy. I mean, even the entourage walking around, you can't. I mean, is this wild? Is this what you expected in your debut, or is this even more than you anticipated?
More than I anticipated, but first it was, a little like I wasn't used to it, but now I'm used to it, and now it feels like more normal. But at first it was a little like awkward for me, but now it feels more normal.
Jay, you said it's just another fighter, but I guess what do you think about him as an opponent? Is there anything in his game that stands out to you?
I don't think there's nothing in his game that stands out. So I'm just going to go out there and prove it on Saturday night that there's levels to this. Like I said, somehow he got into the UFC, but Saturday night, I'm just going to get the job done and finish him on Saturday night.
Last thing for me, I mean, I know you had this goal of being the youngest UFC champion. So do you feel like you got to go, make some kind of super statement on Saturday to do that? Or is a win of any kind good enough just to get you started?
Saturday night, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out there and for me, it's not only winning this fight on Saturday night, it's about going out there and making a statement. So just to prove a point that I'm ready to face higher level competition. So I'm just going to show everybody that I'm levels above. So the key to this fight is not only winning this fight, but also I'm going to win impressively to show that I'm ready to fight higher level competition.
We're in front right here. Are you still in school while also being a professional athlete?
Yeah, this is my senior year in high school.
So how do you balance being a high school student and a professional athlete?
I started doing homeschool so I can have more training sessions, but being in school was a little bit harder than fighting because I would go to the cafeteria, and then the only good thing they got in the cafeteria is pizza. Like we would all fight for the pizza. Like everybody after class runs to the cafeteria to get a slice of pizza. Everything else is not that good. So yeah, that was kind of hard. And then it was kind of hard, outrunning other people that want to get that pizza. But even in class, like my friends and stuff, everybody always has food, like a bag of chips on that backpack instead of homework. So we would all just be eating chips and stuff. So it was kind of hard for my diet. Good thing I don't have to diet, but yeah, that was still hard.
And your opponent was in here earlier today, and he was very complimentary of you, saying that you are skilled, you're here for a reason. But I had heard that you wanted to be UFC champion by the time you're 20, and I told him that, and he said, "Yeah, well, I also want to be Santa Claus. It's just probably not going to happen that quick."
Hey, she would actually do a better job in being Santa Claus than being a fighter. So I mean, after this fight, that dream can come true. His dream on being Santa Claus can come true. He can go ahead and go dress as Santa Claus and go stand outside of the mall, and some kids can take pictures with him if he really wants that. And if he wants, he can buy me a gift. He can buy me a gift and bring it to my home or whatever he wants to do after the fight. I'll make his dream come true too. Just like he's making my dream come true by beating him on Saturday night. See? It's a win-win for everybody here, right?
Hey, Raul over here. Did you start homeschool before or after Contender Series?
In between, a little bit after, but because it was kind of hard. I was going to school, but I was missing a lot of days because I was training and stuff. So that's why I say in between. But yeah, hopefully I graduate this year.
I was going to ask, what did your teachers say when it's like, hey, I'm going to miss some days at school, I'm going to be fighting guys on television?
Nah, they don't really care about that. They're just like, every day that you're absent, your grade goes down, and that's all they care about.
Are you going to still get to kind of show off a little bit at graduation?
I'm planning to go to the graduation with all my classmates, but like I said, hopefully I graduate. But yeah, I've like grown up with them, so and joined them for the graduation.
And my final question, obviously being young in the game, what kind of things do your coaches tell you to help you focus and just keep, just growing and not getting too far ahead, even though you do have those big goals for yourself?
They don't really tell me to like put a limit. They just tell me whatever I want to do is just hard work. Whatever I want to do, it just takes hard work. Like I said, for anybody, whatever anybody wants to do is just hard work. There's no secret, so that's what I'm going to do. I've been doing to get to the UFC, and that's what I keep doing to win this fight. It's hard work. So Saturday night, all my hard work is going to show.
Thank you.
And right here, Raul. Was it difficult for you to kind of take a step outside that social boundary and have to stop going to school like all your friends and kind of have to do things differently, or was that just a sacrifice you knew you were going to have to make maybe at some point?
No, I actually didn't know I was going to have to make that type of sacrifice because I knew I was going to be in the UFC early, like around this age, but for some reason I didn't think that I was going to still be in high school. Like that didn't cross my mind. So yeah, I had to leave school, but I mean, I wish I was still in school, like in regular school, because I think it's pretty fun, like hanging out with friends, and then I'm not training, like I'm just sitting on the desk and like talking and eating and stuff, But I had to take that away for me to become an even greater fighter than what I am today. So I didn't know I had to make that sacrifice, but at the end of the day, I realized I had to make it, and that's what I did.
And I think that's a sacrifice a lot of high schoolers wouldn't be able to make. They wouldn't be able to get over stuff like that. So I guess, what do you feel like separates you from everybody else where you're able to do this stuff so early and get so far?
I think it's about how bad I want it. So I'm willing to do anything, whatever it takes for me to get whatever I want. So like, that's what it took. So that's what I had to do. And like, also it was hard because when I was going to school, like I'll get invited to parties. I'll get invited to, like a lot of parties, after school parties and stuff, or like hanging out with friends. But I never had time for all that stuff because I had to be at the gym. And then, so yeah, that's like a big sacrifice that I had to do. Like I say, I think about it like sacrifice now, enjoy later. So after my career, after it's all said and done,